What if you had an AI agent that could scrape anything on the internet with just plain English instructions? You could use it to generate leads in minutes, you could track competitors' products and pricing automatically, and you could even monitor markets for alt data signals the way hedge funds do. And the thing is, it will go much deeper than ChatGPT. In this video, I'll show you exactly how I built this scrape anything agent using Firecrawl and N8N in just a few minutes. If you're still doing traditional scraping with CSS selectors, this will blow your mind. If you're new here, I'm Remi, software engineer turned AI agency founder, and I've been scraping sites for 15 years. And I can tell you this, if this agent existed back then, I would have gotten a lot more sleep. So let's say I want to scrape specific products on this site. There's a lot of different categories. For each category, there's many brands, and well, I might want to actually scrape all of this. In the old ways of scraping, and I've done that plenty myself, well, you actually have to define the workflow for each different website. So if I want to do the one that I was on, I would have to first do a first API call to a scraping engine and get all the categories. And then for each product within each category, then I would have to get the list of products and then eventually load the actual product page and get the SKU and the price, compare that to the database. I have to create this whole very custom workflow for every single path. And guess what? The next day, the site changes, their CSS selectors are changing, and that's it. It breaks. But if you're doing that at scale, imagine thousands of websites, you might look like this. You're just spinning plates, and every single time you stop taking a look at one of them, well, it starts breaking. And that's why this agent that I'm about to show you, which is the new way of using AI to actually manage that workflow for you. You don't need to actually have a human say you have to click on this button and wait for the page to load. You don't need to do this anymore. You can trust the AI to actually find the path towards exactly what you want. You can explain it in plain English, and it just knows how to get there. It can read HTML, it can make decisions. It's smart enough to figure out the next steps. So I'll just show you and walk you through step by step. It's a simple AI agent. You just need to know how to connect the right tools. And I'm starting with this very simple form submission. I have an example here where I'm scraping the list of gyms from Planet Fitness, and for each of those gyms, I want to actually get the crowd meter. So let's go. If I were to do that manually, I would actually look at this value. Now, in the old ways, I would have to actually implement this scraping logic that would find the exact HTML from this and deduce the actual number. I'm going to run this. All right, so here's my form. I just have 3 fields: the start URL, which I'm going to have Planet Fitness in here. I'm going to have my prompt, get the first 2 gym locations from the start URL and looking for URLs containing /gyms. And for each gym, get the crowd meter value as a percentage value. This is what I was showing before. This is this value. Now I have to define the exact format that I want to receive that in. This is an example. I can have the 2 locations with the actual number. This is just to standardize the output to make sure that if I want to add that to a database later on, well, I know exactly in which format that's going to be, and it's easy to iterate through. All right, so I submitted the form and I'm getting this specific JSON. I'm going to pin this so it's easy to follow along and I don't lose this. Now I'm going to pass that into the AI agent. So it has all the values that I passed in, and those are going to be the input for the AI agent. The agent has 2 sets of prompts. In general, not always, but you have a system prompt, which is defining who you are and what you're supposed to be doing. And then you have the actual user message. So this is the input. So in my system prompt, this is a really long prompt that I'm explaining. I want to extract structured data from public pages. I want to convert the plain English instructions into scraping steps. And you can call the Firecrawl agents multiple times. And there's a full definition of how to use Firecrawl, what to pass in. The important piece is Firecrawl usage, right? How to actually talk to Firecrawl. So this is just the way the API, the Firecrawl API wants to be talked to. There's also ways to write and click and press, and you can do all of this. So if you request in plain English, click the specific button, it will just do it for you. And there's a whole lot of rules that are being explained here, what to do in case of error, retry only once. I'll paste that in the description. I'll give you that for free, but just wanted to show you roughly what it's doing. And then in the inputs, well, I'm just putting the start URL, which we passed in earlier, the instruction prompt, the output format. Again, this is everything that I passed in. And then I'm also passing in a max scrape. So I want to control how many scrapes I'm doing for testing purposes. I don't want that to exhaust my Firecrawl usage and plan. So I'm just putting, let's say, 3 or maybe 4 scrapes, just so I have enough to be testing this without going crazy. And there's a bunch of examples here as well, but the general is you're passing in all the input. All right, so this is the AI agent and the prompt. It connects to an OpenAI chat model. I'm using 5 mini because it's been pretty good and much cheaper than 5, but still has a really good reasoning. One thing I would recommend is to increase the timeout to 2 minutes because the default 1 minute, especially when it's thinking about a lot of HTML, it can time out. You can put that even higher if you really have a lot of different iterations. And then a really important step is to actually connect the tool. And that's exactly what Firecrawl is. It's a tool to the AI agent. The agent is an employee, but if it doesn't have the ability to scrape, you're not going to get a really good agent scraper. So here it is. This is what I'm passing it. The description is pretty important, especially when you have multiple tools. And this is how you talk to Firecrawl. You have a post, you have this URL. I've done this in other videos, but reposting all of this here so you can follow along. And this will, of course, be part of the JSON you can download at the end as well. You can put in your API token in here, and then you send the body. And this is where it's key, because this is all very generic. This is just how to talk to the API and the API key. But in no way here it defines what you scrape, how to scrape it, because it's going to come from the AI agent. And that's where it becomes really, really smart. So instead of having a workflow where you define this manually, you let the AI define it for you. And so you skip a lot of steps in here. So the key is to use the $from AI, because it's just going to let AI figure out what to pass in. You put in Firecrawl body, which I'm defining in my prompt, and then you put a small description just so it knows what it's supposed to put in there. And then finally, we have the JSON response. So you want to optimize for JSON. JSON is a very easy way to get structured data, so definitely recommend that. And of course, you want to get an output parser. So that was in the AI agent. You just want to toggle this little one, and you want to make sure that it follows the exact format that was passed in. So I'm defining this, and this is the output format that is in the form. I want to make sure the AI agent is returning exactly that and nothing else. Let's give it a try. So it's going to loop through Planet Fitness, and you're going to see it work. So it's going to talk to the model. It's going to try to figure out, okay, what do I need to do first? When to call the specific one? All right, just talk to Firecrawl, and you can even see the history there. It tried to crawl a specific URL, and it crawled the second one and somewhere in Virginia, and you get all of that directly. And it's just talking back and forth, and you don't have to do anything. This is the magic with AI agents. It just works. And so it's already scraped 3 websites, and it's going to scrape in HTML directly, and it just understands. The AI understands HTML. Us humans don't really understand it as well, but there you go. It just generated it. And well, we get the exact format that we wanted, right? I asked for the output to be data and have the exact slug is whatever's in the URL. So, right. So in here, I'm in Florida. So it just put this one, but because the scrape is running in Virginia, it got different ones. But of course, you could be more specific and scrape a specific area and type in specific text, and it will just do it for you. And so it got the value 11 and 8, which are coming straight from the HTML, and I know those are good. So that was how it scraped 3 different pages in a few seconds, as you saw, and it just got smart enough to combine all of that into one place. And of course, you could be storing that into your database, into a spreadsheet, or whatever you want to connect it to. So this AI agent only has one tool, which is Firecrawl, which can scrape about 90% of the internet. I have a whole video on this and the difference between Firecrawl, Apify, and some other ones. Feel free to check it out. I'll link it here above. But what we could also do here is actually add Apify directly as a tool so that you can also know when to talk to Apify, when to talk to Firecrawl, and you might be able to really scrape closer to 99.9% of the internet just with these two. So it might be another way to expand on this. And of course, at the end, you can get the output directly and store that in the database or wherever. So that would be other ways to improve. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see any of those improvements. If some get a lot of thumbs up, then I would be happy to do another video and show you how to connect those. All right, that was the AI agent for you. You can grab the JSON file for the scraper agent for free. I'm gonna put the link in the description below. And hit subscribe because let's be real, one day you're gonna need to scrape something and you'll wish you had. All right, I'll see you in the next one.